After our last video and blog, some people asked us to make the video in English for a wider audience. So today we are providing an English explanation of the previous tutorial on how to contribute to open source projects. So if I want to explain what open source is, actually open source is a very broad concept. Mainly open source means there is already an existing project, and if I can contribute to a particular part of that project, then definitely there's an open source contribution. For example, last year I have worked on some open source contribution. I also participated in Hacktoberfest, one of the largest open source contribution competition. It's actually quite easy to contribute to open source. You can start with something small like UI changes such as fixing buttons, which are good for beginners. Open source is great because you can work on various projects starting from beginner to more advanced levels. As a beginner, you might work on fixing a button that is not working on a login page. These are small tasks that can help you get started. As you gain experience, you can work on more advanced features like building or improving a whole login system. Let's take VLC Media Player as an example. It's also an open source project. This means its code is available for anyone to see and contribute to. If you find an issue with the software, you can raise it and then a developer might work on fixing it. No one gets paid for this, but anyone can contribute. It's a great way to build your skills. There are many such projects like Linux, which is also an open source project. Contributing to open source can help you build a good reputation and showcase your achievements. For beginners, it's important to start with small projects and gradually work on more complex ones. You can search for projects related to your skills on platforms like GitHub. If you are new to open source, I will share some links below on how to find projects to contribute to. In open source, I made 4 pull requests last year and all of them got accepted in Hacktoberfest. This is a good example of how open source allows anyone to contribute and it's completely free. For example, if you are good at JavaScript, you can search for JavaScript related projects and find something you can work on. There are also many websites where you can find open source projects to contribute to. Find related projects on GitHub. You can search for projects in your preferred tech stack like JavaScript and see lots of open source projects to contribute to. You can choose projects based on their popularity, updates, or the stars they have. For example, you might find a React project like a chat application or an invoice generator, which is a great starting point. Contributing will help you improve your skills because you will be understanding and adding to someone else's code base. This is an invoice generator website. When you fill out the form, it creates an invoice. Here, most of the work has already been done, but maybe there are some issues which you can find and contribute. By doing this, how you can benefit? By contributing, you can improve your coding skills as you have to understand and work with someone else's code. The website is deployed, so it's easy to explore issues here. You can contribute in 2 ways. You can check the Issues tab for any existing issues to fix, which has been created by someone else. Or you can find a new issue on your own while browsing the web. That's the issue we can work on. First, I am checking if the issue is already listed in the issue step. No, it's not clearly mentioned. So let's create a new issue to let the project owner know. To do this, go to the repository and create a new issue. First, I am writing a clear title describing the problem and explain how the issue is generated. And including a preview image screenshot of how the issue is generated. Also, I am mentioning what I am expecting as a solution. So now the submission is done. Once you have submitted the issue, it's a good idea to wait for the project owner to review it and assign it to you. I am also leaving a comment asking if I can work on it. Once it is assigned, no one else can work on it except me. It's best to wait for the owner's response to be professional. But as I am just showing you, I am not waiting that long right now. So now I am starting to work on the issue, even before they officially assign it to me, just to show you how it's done. So I went to the invoice generator. First, I need to fork the repository, so any changes I make won't affect the original code. After forking, I go to the code section and the repo is now forked. Normally, you can use git clone, but I use GitHub desktop, so I am opening it there. Now the cloning is done. There are different ways to do this. Now I choose contribute to the parent repository. Now that I have the code, I'm going to open it. You can use the terminal to work with the code, and before contributing, you should check the contribution guidelines. Though it doesn't have any good guidelines, but most good repositories do. They usually explain how to set up the project and you should follow that. Here it says I need to install npm, so I will do that. I will open the terminal, run npm install, and then start the project using npm start. That's what I am doing now. Node.js environment is created now. You don't need to understand the entire code base to find a solution. You just need to figure out where is the problem and why it's happening. Now the project is open in my repo and I am ready to work on it. Let's start testing it step by step. I checked again and the same issue is still there. Now that I have forked, cloned and set up the project in my environment, it is time to find a solution. How you solve it is up to you. You can approach it however you like. In my case, I spent some time figuring out where the issue was, and I found that two functions in the invoice form.js file, handle add event and handle calculate total, are causing the problem. How you change it depends on your skills and understanding. My role is to guide you. I have already solved it by modifying those functions, and I am now testing to see if the solution works. I noticed that I don't need to change the whole structure of the file, just these specific functions. Now I will test it by adding a product to see if everything works correctly. I realized that I need to modify these functions. Let's see if my new solution fixes the issue. I am testing my code. If I add 1 plus 1, it gives me 2. If I increase it to $20 to it's giving 21. It shows that my new code is working fine. Now I will do another test. If I keep adding, the subtotal should change dynamically, which is what I wanted. This means my solution is working and I need to publish it now. Since I am only working on the specific file and not changing the entire code base, I will copy the path and go to the terminal. In the terminal, I will type git. It is important to note that you should make changes in your branch. Right now, I am on the main branch. I will add the file by typing git add for the specific file I have changed. Next, I will commit the changes. I will write a message like fix subtotal count and then switch to a new branch if needed. But for now, I am just committing to the main branch to show you. I am only adding the specific file. I don't want to change anything else in the code base. I will commit and then push my changes. Now I will go back to GitHub to check if everything looks good. I see my new commit about fixing the subtotal. Before I finish, I will refresh the system and check everything manually to make sure it is working correctly. It is important to ensure there are no issues before contributing professionally. Lastly, I will send a test email to see if any problem arises. I wrote a test message in email. I tested it and everything seems to be working. I added 4 products and they cost $4, so that's good. Now I will add another product with a price of $100. When I check, it shows 104, which means my code is definitely working. My invoice is generated correctly with the right prices. Since I am working on a copy of the code, I will create a pull request to contribute my fixes back to the main code base. I want to mention the issue I fixed, which is issue number 26. It's better to provide a proper description in the pull request. I will explain that I am referring to issue 26 and that I have solved it. I need to write down what changes I made to the functions related to the issues I found. I updated the logic in 3 functions: handle total count, handle add event, and handle row delete. I will paste my new solution in the pull request. Now I will take a screenshot of the changes and write a good documentation. Writing clear documentation is important because it helps others understand what I did. I will describe the issue and how I fixed it. I will write that before it was not working, but now it does. I will keep it simple for now to show you how to do it. I created the pull request and it looks good. Since I only changed one file, there should not be any issues. I will check the new pull request and see if everything is alright. After I create the pull request, I will check the issue and ask to be assigned to it. It's not necessary to rush. I will wait for the person to get free time to review my changes. This is a good way to contribute to an open source project. If your changes get approved, that's great. If not, you will still learn something from this experience. The more you work on projects like this, the better you will become. There are many beginner-friendly repositories where you can learn and gain more opportunity. Best of luck.